A crimson shadow once slid across the surface of the moon, turning it the color of ancient blood. For many who watched from rooftops, mountainsides, and silent backyards, it felt like the sky itself was whispering a warning. Not through thunder, not through lightning, but through a sign older than civilization, the moon darkening as though the heavens were holding their breath. Some dismissed it as coincidence, others as astronomical routine. But for those who have studied prophecy, deep prophecy, the kind carried through ages in worn pages and whispered traditions, this moment felt eerily familiar. A blood moon has appeared before, but few events in the cosmos have stirred as much fear, fascination, and fervent interpretation. And when talk turns to the end of days, all eyes look to the same ancient storyline, the 7 signs of the apocalypse. Across thousands of years, prophets, kings, scholars, and ordinary believers searched for clues hidden in Scripture, clues that may foretell not only how the world ends, but why. These signs were not written as riddles for the sake of mystery, but as warnings, like storm clouds gathering far on the horizon. But the story doesn't begin with destruction. It begins with a promise that the end is not merely collapse, but renewal, a remaking. And yet, in almost every era, people believed their generation might be the one to witness the final unraveling. From the fall of ancient empires to global plagues, from eclipses that turned entire continents dark, to wars that rewrote the borders of the earth, every age has wondered, are the signs unfolding now? Or have they already begun? To understand the 7 signs of the apocalypse, one must step into a narrative that stretches from the book of Daniel to the writings of John on the island of Patmos. A narrative where beasts rise from the sea, stars fall like flaming torches, and riders on pale horses bring judgment. But buried in these images are symbols, powerful, poetic, and at times terrifying. Symbols meant to teach, to warn, and to awaken. And among these symbols, one stands out for its chilling beauty. The prophecy of the moon turning to blood. Long before telescopes, long before scientists traced the paths of planets with mathematical precision, ancient people looked to the heavens for meaning. When the moon suddenly shifted from silver to red, it felt supernatural. The moon did not usually bleed. It was a heavenly body, unchanging, steady, predictable. So when it turned the color of sacrifice, something inside the human soul stirred. The prophet Joel recorded it. The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord comes. John, exiled on Patmos, echoed it centuries later in Revelation. And the moon became as blood. These words, preserved across generations, shaped a belief that celestial disturbances would signal the beginning of the end. But how does this blood-red phenomenon connect to the 7 signs of the apocalypse? To answer that, we have to trace the signs as they appear in the final book of the Bible, each one marking a new stage in the unraveling. The first sign appears quietly, so quietly that even those who study prophecy often overlook it. It is the rider on the white horse, carrying a bow but no arrows. Some interpret this figure as a symbol of deceptive peace, a calm that settles just before an unexpected storm. Others believe it represents the rise of a political or spiritual leader whose influence spreads subtly at first, drawing followers not by force, but by persuasion. This first sign is unsettling because it is peaceful. It suggests that the end does not begin with chaos, but with confidence, a sense of progress, a false hope that things are improving just before they fracture. Then comes the second sign, the red horse. War. Violence breaking out in places long thought stable. People turning against each other because ancient tensions were never truly resolved. They only slept. And when this horse rides, peace is taken from the earth. The third sign rides closely behind, the black horse and the scales of scarcity. Famine. Prices soaring. simple food becoming a luxury. Throughout history, every major famine has sparked whispers that the prophecy was unfolding. Fields drying under relentless heat, harvests failing, economies stumbling as basic necessities vanish. The fourth sign, the pale horse, is unmistakably grim. Death, followed by Hades. Here the prophecy speaks not only of mortality, but of widespread, overwhelming devastation, plagues, disasters, violence, forces that sweep across populations so quickly that the ancient writer described it as a quarter of the earth being affected. The fifth sign departs from earthly events and rises into the spiritual, the cry of the martyrs. A moment when the voices of the persecuted call out from beneath the altar, asking how long justice will be delayed. Whether interpreted literally or symbolically, this sign reflects a profound truth: that suffering endured for faith is neither forgotten nor ignored. And then, the sixth sign, the great cosmic upheaval, the earth shaking, the sun darkening, the stars falling, and the moon turning to blood. It is here that the blood moon prophecy takes its deepest root, not as a superstition, not as a mere astronomical spectacle, but as part of a sequence, a chain reaction that signals the nearness of a divine climax. For centuries, whenever a blood moon appeared, people wondered whether this was the one. Some feared it, others prepared for it, still others dismissed it as myth. But prophecy is not about panic, and signs are not given to provoke fear. They are given to provoke awareness. The seventh sign, often misunderstood, is not a single disaster, but the opening of heaven itself. The silence, the prayers, the unleashing of trumpets that signal judgment and transformation. It marks the shift from warning to fulfillment, from anticipation to resolution. Yet the question remains: if blood moons occur naturally during lunar eclipses, what makes one prophetic and another ordinary? To answer that, we dive into the story that captured the world's imagination in recent years. The blood moon tetrad, 4 consecutive total lunar eclipses aligning with the ancient Hebrew festivals of Passover and Tabernacles. In 2014 and 2015, this rare sequence set off a wave of speculation. Books were written, sermons were preached, documentaries aired. Many believed that the timing was too precise to be coincidence. 4 blood moons in a row, landing on the very dates when the ancient Israelites gathered to remember deliverance and celebrate renewal, it stirred a sense that history was poised to shift. But this was not the first tetrad, nor the first time a blood moon sparked prophetic conversation. During the Spanish Inquisition, a tetrad occurred as Jewish communities faced expulsion. Later, in 1949 and 1950, another tetrad followed Israel's declaration of statehood. In 1967 and 1968, yet another appeared as the Six-Day War reshaped the Middle East. To those who watch prophecy closely, these moments are not random. They are deeply symbolic intersections, moments when earthly events mirror celestial rhythms. And still, the Bible never says that every blood moon is a sign of the end, nor does it claim that any single event will serve as a cosmic alarm. Instead, Scripture paints a picture of convergence, a time when signs in the heavens align with signs on the earth. Which brings us to the true heart of the matter. Are we witnessing such a convergence now? Wars rise and fall like tides. Famine still stalks parts of the world. Pandemics remind us how fragile global systems can be. Natural disasters grow more unpredictable. And the heavens continue their ancient cycle of eclipses, alignments, and unexplained phenomena. Some look at these patterns and see coincidence. Others see warning. And others see opportunity, an invitation to reflect, to awaken, to prepare. But the story of the 7 signs of the apocalypse is not meant to end in fear. The final chapters of Revelation reveal a world restored, a kingdom rebuilt, a place where sorrow is not merely healed, but replaced with joy. The signs are not the conclusion. They are the prelude. And perhaps the blood moon, with all its eerie beauty, is less a symbol of destruction and more a reminder written across the sky that creation itself is groaning, longing for renewal, that the world is not random, but part of a grand narrative, and that every sign, celestial or earthly, tells us we are part of a story larger than our own lifetime. So when the moon turns red again, and it surely will, perhaps the question is not, is this the end? But, what is this moment trying to teach us? Not, should we fear the signs? But are we paying attention to them? For prophecy, at its core, is not about predicting dates. It is about preparing hearts. And maybe, just maybe, that is the greatest sign of all.